Hi,
Good morning,
everybody.
and I'd like to now welcome Sepi Shyne. Sepi is
Hi.
from down south as well. She is a council member, I'm sorry, running for council in WeHo, West Hollywood. And Sepi, why don't you tell us a little about yourself first, kind of just about your background and how you got into politics, and then a little bit about how you came to the issue of cannabis.
Absolutely. So I am currently a small business owner, attorney, commissioner in the city of West Hollywood on the Business License Commission. I sit on the LA County Assessors Advisory Council, and I've been a resident in West Hollywood in 11 years. I'm an Iranian American immigrant and an LGBTQ civil rights advocate for over 20 years. Coming to cannabis for me, the first time I really realized the absolute benefits. My brother has epilepsy, and it wasn't from him that I learned about cannabis. It was from my dear friend Marie when I was going to law school, and she had epilepsy, and she before legalization she would use medical marijuana to really help her, and I saw the benefits. I mean, then I knew how important this was to get behind cannabis legalization, and eventually, I'm proud to say, West Hollywood, you were stating numbers for Prop 64, West Hollywood had more than 80% of
Wow,
our voters passing Prop 64
that may
for.
be one of the highest in the state, Sepi.
Yeah, and historically, West Hollywood was one of the first majority gay municipalities. We've been an LGBTQ haven. We've had a lot of our population in the 80s. A lot of the gay men suffered from a lot of lots of pain and suffering from the AIDS, HIV/AIDS crisis. And a lot of them did use marijuana at the time before it was legalized.
Right.
And so in that aspect, understanding that, I think it's really important to really understand the intersectional issues involved with, especially now that we've had a rise of social justice again,
Right.
the intersectional issues involved in giving people access, decriminalizing federally, absolutely needed 100% because this is about social justice. It's still about social justice. And so that's where I'm running for West Hollywood City Council.
Yes.
It's my second time running. I ran last year and almost flipped a longtime incumbent seat by 141 votes. And I'm running again, and I've been endorsed by the Federation of Labor, almost all the Dem clubs that have endorsed in this race, and doing really well.
That's great, Sepi. Yeah, this may be a little wonky, but how many seats are open, and are any of them open?
Sure. So there's no seats open. There's 2 incumbents that are running for re-election, and there's 8 challengers, and I'm the one of the front runners.
Got it. And these are at large seats, I take it.
Yes, they are at large seats.
Okay, got it. So anywhere you are in West Hollywood, you can vote for Sepi, which is great. And talk a little bit about, I know that, they talked a lot about social justice in the previous sessions, but we can talk about that as well. But particularly, let's talk about labor issues, because labor issues are about social justice and economics, and about helping disadvantaged folks, have a better chance at a better wage and better working conditions. So talk about a little bit about, labor and how as an industry we can work best with labor, how we can best create good jobs, and what's going on in WeHo regarding that.
Well, first we had a lot of the cannabis applicants that would come before us. We were so happy that everyone was providing, a minimum, at least on even higher living wage, really taking care of employees. And when you take care of employees, a business does better, the community does better. So we were happy to see that the excellent cannabis companies that were seeking applications were really taking care of their workers and wanting to unionize. And in fact, West Hollywood just had a compromise deal where the cannabis businesses that have 10 or more employees are going to be unionized. And this isn't really important. This is really important to really give back to the community, and again, really shift the vibration. Cannabis has always had an incredible vibration of healing, and protecting unions, working families brings healing, and it's also another social justice issue. So,
And I would add, Sepi, that the more people who are earning good wages, the more customers there are. So it's
exactly.
actually, it comes full circle. So
Mhm.
it's about healing, it's about healthy communities, but it's
Yeah,
also about economic vitality. So that's
definitely.
really important. And I think we often forget that that we want our workers to make a lot of money. We want them to go shop at the other stores, so the folks who are working at the other stores can come and shop at ours.
Yeah.
Um, Additionally, I think it's worth mentioning that when you sign a labor peace agreement, it sounds like West Hollywood's reduced it to 10 from 25 employees, which I think is the state level. Um, don't be too scared of it. Yes, it's going to change your business a bit. You're going to have some restrictions about how you can operate. But in the end, the unions, particularly the UFCW, who
Yeah.
I imagine you're seeing down there working really passionately about this,
Yes.
they want our businesses to succeed because they know that if they don't succeed, they don't have jobs. And so
Exactly.
look at it as a partnership. Don't be afraid of the unions. Make them your partner, and you can accomplish a lot. Let's talk also, Sepi, a little bit about on-site consumption and smoking in general, because whether it's the vape crisis that happened last year, which was predominantly
Mhm.
about tobacco, there's tobacco issues with flavored tobacco, but then there's also the problem was mainly entirely with illegal product, and it's
Right.
legal products that are going to keep people safe. Talk a little bit about the actual smoking in your communities and how that's been playing out.
Sure. So originally with on-site consumption, we did have the first smoking lounge in America. I will have to say it was amazing, Lowell. And there were limits on when how much customers could carry out, and they were really limited a lot. So now the limit has been increased, so that's good. But the biggest issue recently was a smoking ban that was a big fight in council, and originally staff was combining tobacco smoke with cannabis, and there was pushback, thank goodness, on giving options to either exempt medical cannabis or just completely exempt cannabis, and I was one of the only challengers to come out with option 6, which is a complete exemption of cannabis. So we're just dealing with tobacco smoking ban right now, and this might come back. So it's really important to support candidates who are very pro cannabis and keeping it retail and medical. And one of my arguments was that not everyone goes and gets a medical license. That's one thing. I certainly, I use cannabis for migraines, but I've never spent the time to go get a medical license. I just go retail. And not to mention privacy issues that might come up. Why should a person then have to disclose if we only exempt cannabis? Why should someone have to disclose to their landlord that they're using medical cannabis? And that's where it gets really invasion of privacy, in my opinion.
With employment, is that also an issue? Should employers be allowed to ask whether you use cannabis, and should it be a disqualifier for most jobs?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, no.
So let me ask you, Sepi, some of the question I've asked the previous panelists. What can we, as individual companies, and what can we do as an industry do to help? It's interesting, the flavor and the qualities of the issues are different everywhere, right? For Benicia, it's different than it was for kind of eastern desert area of California, and it's obviously going to be different from WeHo. So tell us, for your area, what are the kind of things we should be doing down there as an industry to help promote good policies?
I think keep leaning on elected officials. West Hollywood has done a good job of creating, giving out licenses and had a very thorough process, but it was also very cumbersome. So lean on elected officials to ease some of the red tape and bureaucracy, and lower some of the fees, because I know everyone's getting hit with high taxes, and also with the state coming down hard on edible only establishments and licensors that wanted to have restaurants at the same time and regular food and cannabis food. That was kind of a shock and really messed up a lot of people's business model. And so we need to, I'm going to say this again, keep leaning on the elected officials. And West Hollywood, most want to partner, and also get the elected officials to also advocate regionally and with the state too, because that's going to be important.
It seems really clear to me that local and state partnership, because you keep adding taxes on at the different levels, and one side, so we only did 3%, well, but they did 5%, and all of a sudden, you're making illegal cannabis more attractive to many people,
Yeah.
And that's what we need to end. Tell me if watching the experience in WeHo, have there things that we've gotten wrong as an industry? Have individual businesses gotten things wrong that we need to, watch out for and not do that set us back?
I think what will be very helpful is even more community engagement, because what I'm seeing is some people that show up to commission meetings and speak against businesses. It's based on misconceptions about how the neighborhoods are going to be affected. So really engaging the neighbors, and a lot of the businesses have done a good job of that, but continuing the dialogue and educating people, because again, these residents don't know a lot about the history of medical marijuana, now retail. So
Right.
really continuing to engage with the community, I think is going to be really helpful. So.
Terrific. I come from the wine business, and the way I built my wine business starting in 2005 was direct to consumer. I mean, and we do that through a tasting room. So, on-site consumption has been one of the things that has been most resisted and even have wanted to. Do you allow on-site consumption in WeHo, and how has that gone?
On-site consumption?
Yeah.
Yes. So we do, but you have to have obviously have qualified for the permit for it. And again, like I said, it's been a lot of red tape, a lot of costs, and I think the licensing definitely needs to be streamlined if we,
Right.
For the future. And right now, they've already gone through it, unfortunately, with the way it was presented. On-site consumption, again, the issue with that was not allowing people to take a lot out with them, but we've increased that, because the reality is the limit on people taking something home meant that they had to consume it all right there, which is it's counter to not wanting to be people to have too much of the product and then get too stoned or to
Right.
be able to walk home safely. So I think the council has learned, and now they've increased that to take your stuff to go. So
Yeah, terrific. One of the things that our company's probably, I think we have 6 licenses now. We had 3 that we sold, and we're doing some more. We're in new areas. The real challenge, I think, for a lot of us is that we go through this whole process with the city or the county we're in, and then we go through the whole process with the state, and a lot of it is duplicative. But even worse, a lot of times the state will give us this information on security, and the way that the city will want it is slightly different. So
yeah.
you're generating the same amount of information twice for 2 different groups. One of the things that I think I'll really love to see from local officials, as you will be soon, is working with the state to say, listen, why don't we just unify this so we don't have to duplicate stuff, because it's time consuming and it's expensive for new businesses that are trying to get off the ground.
I agree. And in fact, one of the issues that I had, our staff wanted all of the cannabis businesses to have the same start time, 10 a.m., no matter where they were, what kind of license they had.
Right.
And I really fought back against that, because I advocated for us looking at the neighborhood, seeing if there's other types of businesses that open earlier, really what is that specific area's need and that business's need. And I'm happy to say that I was able to shift that and get consensus to have a lot of the businesses open up earlier, which they wanted to, which was an 8 a.m. start time, and I didn't see an issue with that so far.
Yeah, terrific, Sepi. One of the things as a former planning commissioner, my wife's an urban planner and builds affordable housing. I see a lot of these cities saying, okay, we'll allow dispensaries, but we're going to put them out of the way somewhere. So they say we're going to put a dispensary in an industrial park. The whole idea of zoning is to put like businesses together. So what you're saying, makes total sense and is really terrific. Listen, our time is up, Sepi, but I want to tell everybody, again, we need to support candidates like Sepi Shyne. That's Shyne. And go to her website, and small contributions make a really big difference in local races. So as much or as little as you can give and support, and if you live there, of course, tell your neighbors, put out a yard sign, and go ahead and vote. So Sepi, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck on November 3rd, and we'll be watching, hoping to work with you as a council member soon.
Likewise. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Sepi.